Today we're making my jalapeno and cheese sourdough. I'll put the ingredients up on the screen for you to pause, and I'll also put them in the video description. In goes 300 grams of lukewarm water, 10 grams of fine sea salt, 100 grams of starter with a ratio of 1:1 flour to water. Give that a good mix in just before you add the flour. You can use just about any bread flour. I like the Allinson's very strong bread flour, which is quite high in protein. So in goes 450 grams. Give that a good mix until no wet bits are left and the dough is dry and shaggy. Get your hands in and just make sure there's nothing else loose on the bottom. Pull from the bottom to the top. Cover and leave for 30 minutes for the dough to relax. Uncover and perform your first set of stretch and folds. So basically you want to pull one corner of the dough up and fold it into the middle. Rotate the ball, lift another side up and fold into the middle, and just repeat this until you go around the ball once. Cover up and rest for another 30 minutes. Do the second set of stretch and folds as per the first round. You'll notice the dough getting smoother and smoother as you perform more and more sets. Cover again and rest for another 30 minutes. The second set of stretch and folds is where I like to add in my cheddar and jalapeno. I just sprinkle it on the top, push it down onto the dough, and then commence with the third set of stretch and folds as per before. Just going around the ball, tucking the dough over and getting all the cheddar and jalapeno into the dough. Cover the dough and rest for another 30 minutes. Add in the second half of the cheddar and jalapeno, same as before, put it onto the dough and then start with your fourth set of stretch and folds. By this point your dough will be nice and smooth, even smoother without the cheddar and jalapeno, but I find this is the best way to make sure you've got a nice and smooth dough without overworking it. Tuck it in, get the hand underneath and tuck it into a nice ball. By kind of pulling it from the underside, you're almost creating a little bit of tension in the dough. Cover it up for 8 hours at room temperature. At this point you'll be able to pull it easily off the side of the glass. Lift up onto the counter, fold the dough into the centre before you turn it over and pull it into a ball. This way when you're ready to flip it over, it'll be nice and smooth on the other side. And if you've got any flour on the counter at this point, it will slide, so just pull it nicely into a tight ball on a dry counter. I like to cover here and let the dough rest for 30 minutes. Remove the bowl and get a little bit of flour on your finger, and this is the poke test. So when you push it in, it shouldn't spring back fully right away and it shouldn't stay in, it should be somewhere in between. That's it ready. Put some flour on the banneton, pull your dough into a ball again as before with a sticky surface. Get it nice and tight just before you put it in the banneton. Turn it over, stick it in the banneton with the cover on, and get that into the fridge for anywhere between 12 hours and 16. Preheat the oven to 232 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes with the Dutch oven inside. Turn the dough out onto the baking paper. Get your bread lame. I like to go for a 45 degrees and a double cross sort of pattern on the top of the loaf before putting it in the oven. This will help your loaf rise nicely. In the Dutch oven, lid on, 20 minutes without changing the temperature. After 20 minutes, remove the lid and cook for another 15 minutes. Remove it from the oven. At this point I like to take it out and put it on a cooling rack. When you first start with certain temperatures or certain recipes, it's good to lift the dough over and give the bottom a knock, and it should sound hollow when fully cooked. I like to leave my loaf to cool for 2 hours before I cut it, otherwise you'll open it up and it'll be gummy inside. And this one tasted as good as it looked.